something. I don't.
Just sat there too.
Yeah, who knows what happened? Okay, got it. Setting up. It's working, Magnus. We are in business.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's so grainy. Will you check it on your phone and see what it looks? All right. That's better. All right. We are letting everyone have a second to tune in, and I'm going to get you set here. I want to see what it looks like. Are you seeing us?
Not there yet.
Okay.
Certainly.
I didn't just close it out. No, we're there.
Okay.
You see it?
Not yet. Me.
Stand by, Magnus.
Okay.
Let me go to our page and just see instead of looking at the link. There we go. All good.
Okay. Well, that's no good if the link doesn't work.
Well, you know, like when it gives you a notification, like if it's going live, that's
Yeah.
what I clicked from. But when I went to our page, it's good.
All right, good. So I think we're all good to go. Jennifer's got the chat up if anyone has any questions for our special guest today. So I coach Janice, Bandit CrossFit, and Jennifer Socher, our director of nutrition. We are running a nutrition challenge. We do this about twice a year, and Magnus is one of our mainstay sponsors of the challenge. And we're always so excited for this time where we get to speak to the guru, as I like to say, about all things mind and body. So Magnus, you've been with us for quite a few times. And just in case we have any new viewers or listeners, can you tell us what you do for a living?
Yes, so I am an LMT, so that's a licensed massage therapist, but I'm also a structural integrator. So I have an additional education, which I went out west to Arizona to get. So I work with fascia and movement. I would say is what separates me from your traditional massage therapist.
Yeah, so you do put your hands on people, but just to be clear, it's not candles and music. It's an actual working session. I've been seeing Magnus since 2014, and I've had some of the most amazing results from seeing you. I still get traditional massage for relaxation and just to get blood flow going, but it's a much different experience because we're getting a little bit deeper, and you're not only doing the structural integration with me, you're doing some stretching techniques. You've even done things where we get into like where my liver and stomach and things are, all these voodoo things. I don't want to call it that and call it voodoo because it works, it's magic. But Magnus, you've been doing this for a long time. So tell me, let's just kind of start at the beginning. Tell me what got you into this and what made you interested in this type of work.
So I was teaching tennis, so I was what's called a tennis pro, and I was playing in the Pro-Am tournament, and I just got a little backache, and the next day I could barely get out of bed. So I had bulging discs in my back, and about a year of walking around with a knife in my back and trying everything that was out there available. And then I had a bright idea of going to massage school because I didn't feel like I could teach tennis anymore, and I still had pain. And I met somebody that was doing structural integration. He was actually one of the experts in this country. He worked at the main school in Colorado at that time. And after about 4 sessions, my pain was gone. He told me he did fascial work. I had no idea what that was because back, over 20 years ago, nobody knew what fascial work was, except maybe just a few select people.
Yeah, you were kind of on the cutting edge of a new thing that was kind of taking over. And I still think to some effect is still not clear in some circles, especially I think in the fitness space. Most people don't really understand what it is that you do. I think in massage space, yeah, or even what the fascia is. So let's kind of start there, because I think that's something that would be really informative for all of our listeners, and maybe so they can kind of connect this for themselves and how this is beneficial. Explain to me what the fascia is and what role it plays in your daily life.
Yeah, so fascia is the connective tissue. It's it's a soft tissue that is under the skin. It's in with the adipose tissue. A lot of times we think of adipose tissue as a bad thing, but it's also a shock absorber, right?
Mhm.
So it has to be there. It's in with the superficial fascia, the connective tissue. Then we also have a deeper fascia that goes in between the muscles and even connects all the way down to the bone. So it is a material that holds everything together. It gives the body's shape. It's unlike a muscle, it doesn't have a beginning and end. It covers the whole body.
Yeah.
And it's like a three-dimensional spider web. It's doesn't have great blood flow, but it has great nerve flow. And it's thought that it's like a water pump. It has to do with hydrating our tissues. And then there is the visceral fascia, which is a totally different story. Now, the visceral fascia goes around your internal organs. So there is visceral fascia around your brain, around your liver, around your kidneys, everywhere in the body. So the research now, Dr. Robert Schleip in Germany and at Harvard Medical School and Carla Stecco at Rome, they're researching fascia because they're realizing it has a lot more importance than what was previously thought. Even with nerve flow, there's a lot of neural pain receptors in fascia as well, right? So it's with a lot of these different autoimmune diseases, there's some kind of fascial component. But then we're also noticing in movement, when your fascia gets tight, you can't move as well.
Mhm.
So we like to say we work with freedom of movement. We loosen up the fascia so that your muscles can move. And fascia actually, there's some research now showing that fascia actually can contract in conjunction with the muscles, in force transmission or movement, like you throw in a ball or you're jumping, the fascia is actually contracting with the muscle.
Yeah, it's
to
not
make the
passive.
movement possible. Yeah, it's not passive.
That's awesome. That's interesting. So let's talk about this because in our nutrition challenge, one of our tasks for our clients taking on the challenge is to get 64 ounces or 80 ounces of water.
64 ounces.
Yeah, 64 ounces of
Yeah.
water on a daily basis. So talk about the importance of hydration and how it could affect your fascia negatively and possibly make pain, because I don't think people understand the full spectrum of why hydration is so important.
Yeah. So we talk about fascial adhesions, and everybody has probably felt this. This is when fascia gets hard. So
Mhm.
whether you're overtraining or undertraining or you have a trauma, for instance, a fall, that can affect the fascia to harden up, but also dehydration. I mean, we know that for a fact, and from scientific research, if we're not continuously giving the body enough water, the fascia gets hard, and you won't be able to move as well.
Yeah, it's
So
not
that's
viable.
and we also find with our line of work, there is hydration on a cellular level.
Mhm.
And now it's like, yeah, you can drink a lot of water, but if you're too tight, it might still not hydrate enough. So that's what our work comes, and movement, not just what we do, but movement, keeping your body open is so important. Exercise, the right exercise, to keep the fascia hydrated.
Yeah, that's so important. And I've noticed a difference in how I feel when I'm hydrated, not just in terms of like my mental and my headache and my energy, but my body feels better. I feel like my skin looks younger when I'm hydrated. I feel like the bags under my eyes don't. So there's a cosmetic reason for it too, y'all. Okay, so next, let's talk about this stretching session that you do, because you can do, like, whoever's listening right now, Magnus can treat you. It's a manual treatment where he would try to assess, what's going on in the body, and then he would, design a plan. You do a prescriptive plan. Let's back up. I don't want to go to the stretching yet, because I do want to talk about this. This is really important, and I think this is why we really gel so much with the way you do things, because we do this here too. There's not a one size fits all treatment plan for fitness. when someone comes in the door with us or for nutrition, we have to take in a litany of things that make each person unique and individual. And we have to try to deliver a plan that's going to best suit them. And that's why it's really important when you call us that we really need to talk to you. We can't just give you, oh, this is what it's going to be right out the gate. I really like to talk and get to know what your pain points are and see what we offer that could help solve the problem. And I think you work that same way. Is, you wouldn't treat a 75-year-old person who has been sedentary for the last 30, 40 years of their life the same way that you would treat a CrossFit athlete, or you have professional athletes that you work with, and you need to know those things about them. And you actually probably need to have your eyes on them more so than just talking to them. So talk about that process when someone comes in, about how important it is for you to customize that approach, because I think you have a customized approach.
Yes, I mean, obviously, an elderly person, we can't put the same amount of pressure, but we still work with a pressure scale. So whether it's a professional athlete or a 75-year-old, retired person, there's a pain scale from 1 to 10, or a pressure scale. We don't try to cause pain. There's a pressure scale. So from 1 to 10, we like the therapeutic zone is accepted to be like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
You start getting it into an 8, that might get really intense. 9 and 10 is too much. So now you're not really causing any therapeutic value, any change in the fascia. You might just be smashing it, and causing a lot of discomfort. But also I look, so what we're trained to do is to look at posture and movement. I mean, I have thousands of hours just looking at people, how they move, how somebody sits on a chair. If I get an elderly person, I might look at, well, how do they sit down on a chair and how do they come up? So that's basically doing a squat, right? And if I have an athlete, I'll say, okay, show me a body weight squat. So now I see how they move in doing a squat or a simple forward bend. So that's part of my process to evaluate their movement. And I would say the X factor is, we understand what normal joint range of motion is, how you're supposed to move your body, move a joint. And if anything is not within range, we work to improve upon that. So that's how we get results sometimes when other people can't get results, because we understand how a joint's supposed to move.
Yeah, I think many people don't know how it's supposed to move, myself included, because if you have those limitations, you can't get there. And you have looked at so many people, you understand where that joint or where that leg should be able to extend external or internally. And usually when Magnus works on me, I'll be kind of impinged or tight in an area, and then he'll do the session with me, and he creates so much space, and it provides so much release. Jennifer sees Magnus as well, and she can attest to that too. Like, it's a different experience. Massage has a place, but this is a different experience than a massage. And that's what I try to tell to our clients who come in, is really go see Magnus. And something else I like about you too is that if someone's dealing with a chronic pain issue, Magnus is kind of like a first stop in a sense, where let's see if we can do something with movement, see if we can do something with some body work. And if Magnus, you've done it for so long, when it's time to tell them, hey, you're going to need to seek some medical treatment for this. So what's the protocol there? You'll see someone, and is that how that works for you? Explain that a little bit, where if you feel like you can't get anything out of them, then you would send them on to a higher treatment plan.
Yeah, so obviously the only one that can diagnose is a medical doctor, right?
Exactly.
But we have to know a little bit about what's outside of our scope. So we have to know the body. We have to know when we're not getting results, and perhaps refer them to a medical doctor or a chiropractor if that's the avenue that we go. Then from there on, they would decide, well, do we refer to a PT or an occupational therapist? It can be some different things, and obviously if somebody has had a surgery, the going route, well, go to PT first. They do their thing. Now, then the PT might refer to us. I mean, we have physical therapists referring, clients to us because they're done with them, but they know there's still it's not 100%.
Yeah,
for whatever
absolutely.
reason, right?
Yeah, well, I found this is kind of like a lifetime thing, and you've treated me for so long and through so many different things, it's like, okay, well, then we fix this one thing, and then now this time to work on this next thing. So, you know, a physical therapist is something that has a duration, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but seeing you is something that can just kind of maintain the things. Like if you've dealt with a surgery, or if you've dealing with a doctor and they've sent you to PT to rectify something, it's almost like you're kind of a maintenance thing. And that's what I really like about it, is I always learn from you. And it's like, it hasn't fully kept me from getting injured, but I do a lot of silly things. I don't know that I would ever be able to not be, I won't ever be 100%. Maybe that's the human condition too. Even people that don't do the types of events or trainings that we do, you know, they're always going to deal with little aches and pains, and they can come see you for that.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's, you know, a lot of the people we work with, they're not, you know, injured in the sense to, hey, you got to go to a doctor and so on, but they're still limited in some kind of way. And
Yeah.
it's beyond muscle soreness, but it doesn't show up on an X-ray or an MRI. And we've even gotten people, they've been everywhere, and they've been told, hey, you know, you're fine, there's nothing going on, but especially people that want to move and go to the gym and work out and run, they know that they can't do it.
Yeah, for
Even though they've
sure.
been told there's nothing going on, right? So that's that X factor, and that's where we do some of our best work, you know.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed when I send some clients to you, is that they sometimes, it's like nothing is wrong. They just have a tightness in one area that's affecting something that's causing them some acute pain. And then you go get those areas worked on, and like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better now. I didn't realize that, you know, my lat could be what's causing my shoulder pain, or I didn't realize that my hip is what's causing my knee pain. And then when you get in there and really work on that after a series, it really helps to open up and helps them to feel better. And that's one of the things that I found too, is when you've taught me, and when I work with my clients, when they tell me, oh man, my knees hurt. Like, well, let's look at your quad. Let's see how tight your IT bands are. Let's see your tightness of your hips, the tightness of your hamstrings, or even down the line. Let's look at down the line and see what's going on, because your knee could be a symptom of something else that's wrong. And we've had some great results here from our clients, giving them accessory work that's designed. So like if you have a knee issue, well, let's do some hip accessory work and see if we can create some balance up here. It's just every session I see you, it's almost like an education as well as a treatment session. So I really enjoy that aspect of working with you. So now let's talk about your stretching sessions, because that's something that you see people, you do the actual manual work where you work on the fascia, but let's talk about the connection of the stretching, because I'm sure you're also working the fascia in those manual stretching sessions.
Yeah, and let me just add one thing. We do deal with muscle imbalances a lot, to where, one muscle is too strong, the other one is too weak, and it's causing the body to have, a poor posture that's not conducive to movement, right? So those are areas we're very comfortable in. So like core strength is talked about a lot, right? So we can use Dr. Vladimir Yanda, the lower crossed syndrome, for instance, where he's talking about the weak part of the core is abdominal muscles and glutes. So you got to strengthen those. What tends to get short is your psoas, your hip flexors, and your lumbar spine. So that's why he's talking about the crossed. It goes across, right? So just knowing those things, we've done a lot of studying on various type of posture and movement patterns, so it's not like, we're always coming up with something. No, it's been there, since like the 1950s, he came up with these ideas, right? So, and that's our education. People ask, well, what's the difference between you and a massage therapist? They went to school for 600-700 hours. Well, we did too. But then we continue studying for thousands of hours after massage school. And that's really the difference. So I can't really say, I have a lot of experience. Bobby has a lot of experience. We do good work. But if we hadn't had the training beyond massage school, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. I mean, there's not a chance. And back to the assisted stretching. So Yeah, I've been stretching people for a long time. I mean, since college, I was taught how to do assisted stretching, and there's many different ways of doing that. You can do it with just a static stretch, just to hold a stretch for, and people have different ideas. Well, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. Well, those are theories about how long to hold a static stretch. And then there's shorter stretches like a PNF where you're holding for like 5 to 10 seconds where the client is pushing back. So if I'm holding a leg, they're pushing back into my hand, and I'm preventing them from going any further, and then they relax and we take it further, then they press again. So you're bypassing the stretch reflex actually by doing something like that.
Yeah.
And there's other type of stretching that we do a lot is myofascial stretching. So now we're actually just it's how do we explain that? I'm holding a body part and I'm just moving it into tightness and out of tightness into different areas until it starts letting go. So we're not really stopping anywhere. We just keep moving. I mean, occasionally we'll stop and hold a static stretch, and then sometimes we add a PNF stretch. So we're combining, all these different things into a stretch session. And it goes in with what we're doing as well. Harvard Medical School, Dr. Langevin has actually talked about movement as a way to release tight fascia, right?
Yeah.
So we're recognizing, so my lineage, so to speak, the background of my training is Dr. Ada Rolf. She did things a certain way, but she didn't do assisted stretch. So we're actually combining the assisted stretch for sports stretching, and some people know it as, right?
Yeah.
With the hands-on fascial work, and it's great results. But then we also have now, sometimes people just want to get stretched out. They don't want to get the fascial work for whatever reason in that session. So we offer a specific stretch session where I do a 30-minute or a 50-minute and just stretch somebody out. So that's very beneficial, particularly for an athlete. But I've even done it with the last session was with the hairstylist, and she couldn't believe how the tightness of her hips lessened, just with the stretch.
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
can be quite beneficial.
Yeah, that makes sense, because when I see you, we do stretching. I get a combined session of the work and your structural integration and the stretching, but this is stretching only for that time frame. And I think one of the benefits of that for you is that everyone could use more stretching, but we just don't do it. And so if they you're almost like you're doing the manual stretching, so you are probably getting more results than what someone could do on their own because of the way that you are trained. But the accountability factor of that, when you make an appointment, you have to go. So I think that would be, if someone needs to stretch out there and they know they need to stretch, but they're just not forcing themselves to do it, making an appointment with Magnus would force you to do it, because you have to show up, and you're right there by the mall. I mean, you're convenient to Gulfport and Biloxi from Pass Road. So I think that would be one of the great benefits of that as well.
Yeah, and I myself, I do stretching every day. Background in yoga, and I do animal movement, dynamic stretching. But this is slightly different. I like both. So if I'm doing stretching sessions with somebody, I want to make sure I send them home with things that they can do on their own.
For sure. And each person probably gets more different things out of the different stretches based on their unique body shape and their body segments and tightnesses of the areas. And that's why it's so beneficial to have someone like a professional like you, who's had your eyes on thousands of people you've seen through your school, because that's another chapter we're not going to really open too much, but you actually teach this work to others. You and Bobby have a school, and you travel on the weekends, or you have an online course. So not only are you a practitioner, but you're a teacher. And I think that's a really good thing, because that forces you to continue to learn and can hone your skill and broaden your depth of knowledge. Every time I come see you, you have something new that you're telling me about that you've learned. What I love too, and I know I'm just going to keep talking about you because you're one of my favorite people, but you always are trying to learn different disciplines and learn from different thought leaders in not just the massage world and not just the structural integration world, but you've taken for the CrossFitters out there, Magnus has taken the Kelly Starrett mobility courses. You have a personal trainer's license because you wanted to learn more about how the body, you know, what that type, the athletic training industry. So you just have such a broad depth. What drives you? You know, what is the thing that makes you continue to want to do this?
I think, you know, for me personally, I just want to continue to grow and stay mobile, right? You know, when I'm 9 years old, if I get that far, I want to be able to move, you know, I want to be able to hike a mountain if, you know, if I want to, you know, I don't want to stop. So I continuously keep doing something, you know, I don't push myself supremely hard, but I do something every day. And also in, you know, with our profession, it's like once you start learning about the body, it doesn't stop, because there's constantly new research out there and there's new training methods. And I study stuff that I know I'm not even going to do it because I'm not capable of it at this time in my life. But it's like there's possibly clients, you know, that could benefit from that knowledge. So it's like when I took that strength and conditioning course, I mean, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach, you know, I'm not going to train people that way, but I like to have the knowledge of what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that benefits your clients so much because your depth and your breadth of all the different experiences that you have. I mean, you work with you still to this day work with professional athletes. You work with us weekend warriors, what I guess we call most of the people in our gym, and you work with hairdressers. I mean, people that just anyone, any type of person. I've heard stories about just different avatars of clients that you've worked with, elderly people who have, you know, these problems with their back, and you're helping to open them up. I just think that you don't have a specialty, but you are specialized. And so it's like, you're not specialized, but it's an oxymoron or whatever you would call hyperbole. You are one thing, but you're not that. So it's very, very interesting. Let's talk a little bit about Bobby's breath work, because that's something that we didn't get to talk to Bobby today, which we all love Bobby. She made us do some. Bobby is Magnus's wife, for those of you listening, and she's just as skilled and talented as Magnus with a lot, and she focuses a lot on the energy system through breath. So what type of sessions does she offer with that? And tell me about how that affects your mental and your body, your mind and body.
Yeah, and we can next time maybe we can just bring her in so she can, you know, talk more in detail.
Yeah, for sure.
What she does. But yeah, she has a long-time certification as body talk practitioner, and that has to do with breath and energy and emotions, and working to release that. But she's also a body awake yoga teacher. I mean, she has so many different certifications that deals with breath and energy. So yeah, the breath work is, you know, is key to what she does. I mean, for me too, with yoga, you know, we're very much aware of the breath. And obviously with the type of work we do, you know, if somebody's not taking a functional, complete breath, it's going to limit the results, you know, we're getting.
Yeah, I mean, oxygen coming into your body is crucial for energy. It's crucial for healing. You know, your muscles feed off of oxygen. And I think that's something we don't think about very often. Yeah.
And so Bobby, besides the breath, you know, she also does movement therapy. So she has this, something she's working on now is wouldn't say it's a dance, but it's a movement to music, conscious type movement, that is very interesting, you know, as well. So we both approach, I would say our basis for the work is Dr. Rada Rolf, and then we work out from there. And the movement work obviously is very different. Dr. Rolf had a movement work herself, but we do our thing, so to speak. We have, you know, different backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. And you complement one another with the different things you bring to the table through your practice. So very, very good. It's like a jewel. I tell everyone whenever I give them, I've got a stack of your cards here. So I usually give out a card to somebody, and I'm like, he's somebody that's just like a hidden jewel on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, that the mind body practices. You have some great practitioners, and you're training others too. Like, it's kind of like what CrossFit is about. We like to train other people to take care of selves and also to create other leaders, because you've created many leaders throughout the region of people who are now studying your work, and probably kind of like you, the foundation is this one thing. And if you get that, if you're lucky to find that lifetime learner in your own community that is like a body worker, and you start developing that relationship with them, they're going to start learning other areas too and develop their own practice the way you have developed yours over the years. Because you're not just structural integration, you're so much more. A yoga instructor, you know, if you needed to learn yoga, you could go to Magnus. Magnus knows about yoga and breath work. He knows about stretching, the connection of the fascia. So, and health, like you're a healthy person in general, you know, health, you like to eat healthy. And so you kind of walk it, talk it. And I think that's really important for a practitioner.
Yeah, I mean, we both try to stay, you know, health conscious, and obviously doing this type of work, I mean, you have to, you know, you have to keep your own strength.
Yeah, would you consider yourself as like you're a science experiment? Are you your own lab?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, right? You know, we use ourselves to see, oh, that didn't work. Oh, but this works, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And you have a lab inside of your practice, but you also have a lab working with all the students that come your way too. So it just, you cannot beat seeing someone with the experience that you have. Well, Magnus, I don't want to keep you. It's 10:53. I know you probably have some people to save today, some people to save from pain today. But it's always a joy to have you and talk to you. If those of you that are watching, one, we're going to put Magnus's your phone number. I'll put Magnus and Bobby, or if someone's interested in the breath work, you can ask Magnus too how to get in touch with Bobby, because I have both their numbers here. We'll put it in the comments, and then that's the way to schedule your appointment. Just text Magnus or Bobby. But for those of you that are in the challenge that are watching, you need to like and you need to comment on this video and share it with your friends, and learn more about how your own body works by listening to the video with Magnus, so y'all can just create this body of knowledge or have Magnus help you with your body of knowledge and moving forward. So Magnus, we will see you the next time on the next challenge. We always appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow because I have an appointment with you.
Right.
That right now. I think it's like at 12:15. You can still send me your text. Magnus always texts to confirm. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for my session.
Yeah, pleasure to talking to you guys. And next time maybe we can have Bobby on as well.
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to have her. She steals the show. Yeah.
We'll have her alone next time. Yeah.
No, we need both of you. We like both of you. You can come too, Magnus. We like to have a party with both of you.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Y'all take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.